Like Lu Meng had predicted, Sidu Zhang was someone who valued morale very much. She would rather take Shi Jiqing than those who had lost their confidence. If the old captain Zhu Tianhao did not have faith, Sidu Zhang might even replace him as well. Don't worry, we'll be here for you, Zhang Yang patted Shi Jiqing and said. Shi Jiqing immediately exclaimed, what's to be worried about? This round we don't even have to face the monster. Even in the next round, Han Sen will win it for us. In the show hosted by Wen Zixu, a famous archery expert Feng Jialun was invited to analyze the game. Professor Feng Jialun, could you make an analysis of the current situation of the two teams? Wen Zixu asked Feng Jialun. Although Wen Zixu did not know much about archery before, she did her homework before she came and now knew quite a lot about the rules and the teams. Smith Military Academy was on the same level as Blackhawk. Last year, Smith Military Academy did not do that well in archery either, only slightly better than Blackhawk. This year, Smith Military Academy also recruited many archery students, among whom Fang Wending was one of the top. Feng Jialun cleared his throat and said lightly, Blackhawk and Smith are on the same level and I will say it's a 60% chance of winning. You think Blackhawk only has a 60% chance of winning? Asked Wen Zixu, surprised. No, I believe Smith has 60% chance of winning, said Feng Jialun casually. Wen Zixu was a bit dumbstruck. Everyone knew that Han Sen was the player that Jing Jiu took very seriously, so she did not expect Feng to say that. Feng Jialun did not wait for another question before he continued. I know that there is a lot of hype on the Skynet about Han Sen and Jing Jiu. However, as a professional archery analyst, I could tell you that it is just a PR stunt. Han Sen and Blackhawk did not have what it takes to be the Alliance Central Military Academy's match. I would say that it would be hard for them even to beat Smith. Feng Jialun's remark led to fury of the viewers. What kind of expert is this? What's all this bull crap? My emperor is handpicked by Jing Jiu. Smith is nothing. Feng Jialun continued to say, Smith has recruited a lot of great students this year, especially a student named Fang Wending. If you knew anything about archery contests, you should have heard the names of Fang Hua and Feng Yunmei, the two professional archers among evolvers. Fang Wending is from such a great family background and talented himself as well. Such a star archer. Shameless. What kind of expert is this? How dare he say such crap? I've never heard that archery skills could be inherited. The viewers soon found out about the relationship between Feng Jialun and Fang Wending. At this point, the game had already started. Although there were many high-tech composite bows that combined ease of use and accuracy, Han Sen still chose a traditional longbow. Longbow was the hardest to practice, but it was the most flexible under all kinds of circumstances. Han Sen had been using a traditional bow since the beginning. He had learned the basics in the integrated education, and was further corrected by Yang Manli. Among the 5 bows, Han Sen chose the one with lowest strength requirement, which led to Feng Jialun's criticism. He picked a bow of 11.0, which means he has a terrible fitness index. Even fans of the other team started to defend Han Sen, not to mention Han Sen's own fans. Professor Feng, I think that was a little subjective. Our viewers seem to have a lot of different opinions, said Wen Zixu. Feng Jialun glanced at the comments and said casually, the truth always lies in the hands of a few. I'm just stating a fact, which might not be easy to accept for those who have a weak mind. Very soon, I believe, they will see what I'm talking about, because the result of the game will prove everything. Words like this made the viewers hate this know-it-all even more. Jai Yanran and Lily were also pissed off by his remarks. Lily bristled. What kind of crappy expert is this? So unprofessional. Jai Yanran's face was grim. She curled her lips and said, he is right about one thing. The result of the game will prove everything, just not anything he said. Although the viewers had been complaining, Feng Jialun managed to ignore all those comments and continued to talk about Smith's strengths. Feng Jialun did have his own reasons to praise his nephew, who was indeed a strong archer. Fang Wending had great techniques and was good at commanding the team. In the Military Academy League, he could absolutely be counted as a top player. If it was not for Han Sen, he could easily lead Smith to beat a good team. The team of 5 used different objects as their cover and quickly ran towards Smith's half-court, without any intention to occupy the heights. Haha, Blackhawk went all in. They did not even take Smith seriously. Awesome. That seems a bit dangerous, doesn't it? Dangerous how? Han Sen does not need to worry about Smith at all. He is on the same level as Jing Jiu. Awesome, I like this. Watching the 5 players of Blackhawk taking the risk, the viewers became thrilled. Seeing the Blackhawk players rushing over, Fang Wending smirked and ordered, lay low and occupy favorable spots. Shoot at my command. Captain, they have entered my shooting range. Should I start now? A player holding a 14.0 composite bow asked. Hold it. When they entered the area of fallen trees, we will launch a serious attack, said Fang Wending, observing his opponents. Although the Smith players could shoot them right now, only one composite bow was close enough to them. As such distance, one bow could not make a huge difference. Since Han Sen and his teammates were still running, Fang Wending would let them get a bit closer to launch a better attack. The area of fallen trees was the most open area in the entire field, and within the shooting range of all the Smith players. Seeing the Blackhawk players moving into that area, even the viewers felt bad for them. This game should be ending in less than 5 minutes. Feng Jielun saw that and smiled. Very soon, Feng Jielun's smile froze on his face. When Han Sen and his teammates entered the shooting range of the Smith players, it also meant that the Smith players were now within the range of Han Sen's shooting range. When Fang Wending gave the order to fire away, arrow after arrow flew toward where the Smith players were hiding. Two of the Smith players who thought they were hiding well were out immediately. Although Fang Wending and the other two reacted fast and dodged the arrows, they lost the opportunity to shoot back. Silence fell as everyone was shocked by Han Sen, who shot 5 arrows in the blink of an eye. The next moment, loud cheers sounded in the stands. What the heck? How did he know where the 5 persons of Smith were hiding? So fast. I did not even see him touch his bow. Such a strong player, no wonder Jing Jiu takes him so seriously. He is not only the black and white boxing emperor, but also an amazing archer. Invincible. The field was so large that if players were hiding, it would be hard for them to be found. However, Han Sen's arrows were like missiles and located the Smith guys accurately, immediately pinned his enemies down. It was like a match between an adult and children. It was not that hard for Han Sen though. He was good at assassination and the field had a fixed map. Han Sen knew that the moment they reached the fallen trees area was the best opportunity for the Smith guys to launch an attack. And to tell where they were hiding was one of his strengths anyway. Let's go. No need to watch anymore. Jing Jiu got up first. He is indeed a formidable opponent. I look forward to fighting against him. It's such a shame that all his teammates are weak. Qin Cheng nodded. As a player who had a similar style to Han Sen, he was very impressed by Han Sen's ability to judge correctly. Life was full of competitions, but to find a rival on the same level was something worth celebrating. When Qin Cheng observed Han Sen, he kept thinking what he would do if he were Han Sen, and it turned out that he would do exactly what Han Sen did. Qin Cheng would have had the exact same speed, route, and timing. Although Qin Cheng had not met Han Sen officially yet, he had thought of Han Sen as his biggest enemy and strongest opponent. Now Qin Cheng wanted to beat Han Sen even more than Jing Jiu did. He even wished that Han Sen's teammates could be stronger, so that he and Han Sen could compete on the same level. Han Sen hesitated and laid his eye on Sidu Xiang. As the coach of the school team, Sidu Xiang was doing quite well. If Han Sen did not spend too much time in God's sanctuary and had more time to practice with his teammates, they could probably do even better. However, this would not make much of the difference in front of the Alliance Central Military Academy. When Sidu Xiang was explaining her arrangement in the next match, Han Sen suddenly stood up and walked to her. Sidu Xiang did not know what the student wanted. He should listen to her or raise his hand instead of walking up to her. Coach, when you recruited me into the school team, didn't you tell me that the goal is to win the championship in this tournament? Han Sen walked up to Sidu Xiang with his back straight and eyes sharp. I did. Sidu Xiang nodded and blushed a little. She had to admit that even she did not believe that Blackhawk could beat the Alliance Central Military Academy. Then please tell us how to win this. I want to win. Staring at the coach, Han Sen said slowly. Sidu Xiang did not know what to say. She wanted to win more than anybody. However, the gap between the two teams was too big. Sidu Xiang had no clue herself as to how to beat the strongest military school. But as a coach, she could not tell her team that they had no hope. After watching the first match of the Alliance Central Military Academy, Sidu Xiang had to say that this was probably the best team the archery tournament had ever seen. With the monster Jing Jiu and other players like Qin Cheng, the team was so strong that it was beyond her imagination. If you really want to win, there is only one way. Sidu Xiang pondered for a while and said to Han Sen. In fact, Sidu Xiang had thought about this match 1,000,000 times. But no matter what decision she made, she thought they would still lose. The absolute gap in strength was beyond any strategy or tactics. But even so, Sidu Xiang still hoped to win. She had a tentative plan, but she did not even believe it was possible to execute. It was deep in her mind, but she did not even have enough confidence to share that with her team. From a coach, the plan was quite absurd. Although they had a huge advantage, it does not mean you have no chance. Sidu Xiang's gaze fell upon Han Sen. Although this chance is extremely slim, if you're willing to try, there is a possibility, whereas if you do not try, you will definitely lose. If you decide to give it a shot, you will still have a 99% chance of losing. Are you still willing to do this? Please tell us how to do it. Han Sen was calm and determined. Other team members also looked at Sidu Xiang eagerly. Here, look at this. Sidu Xiang pulled out the simulation of the field and started to explain. Before the match began, the stands were filled with the audience from all over the alliance. People were extremely enthusiastic about this match between Jing Jiu and Han Sen. All sorts of media platforms were also all over this match. The unpopular archery tournament became such a hit this year. Wen Zixu was doing all the talking today, as the expert Feng Jialun was pulled off by Huaxing Station because of the complaints. At the back of the stands, two young men in sunglasses were whispering to each other. Lin Feng, do you think Han Sen could win? Asked Tang Zhenliu casually. In terms of the overall strength of his team, Han Sen has no chance. Lin Feng smiled. And Tang Zhenliu knew Lin Feng had more to say. Lin Feng thought about it and said, however, Han Sen's strength was assassination. So, he might be able to get rid of a single person without using the entire team. You mean Han Sen has a chance to eliminate Jing Jiu? Tang Zhenliu regarded Lin Feng. Very hard to say. Maybe there is a chance, whispered Lin Feng. Even he could not predict the result of this game and had to wait and see. On the stands were almost all the participating teams. Even the teams that did not have a match this day were here. Hu Mingmei was also here with her teammates. Most of them were here to observe the Alliance Central Military Academy. In the first round, the team's opponent was too weak to make them show their real strength. Although they did not believe that Blackhawk was the match of the Alliance Central Military Academy, they thought Han Sen would be able to force the monster to show what he got. Because the entire field had a blocking system, the Alliance Central Military Academy players could not hear or see the audience, otherwise they would know that something was wrong. From the beginning of the game, the 5 players from Blackhawk lined up in a single file and ran into the half-court of the Alliance Central Military Academy. Because there were obstructions including hills and woods, normally speaking, the two teams were not able to see each other when the game just started. It was a common practice to occupy the heights to observe the other team. There were a few heights in each half-court so that both teams could utilize the terrain. Blackhawk players had given up on the heights and chose to enter their opponent's half-court following a route hard to be discovered, which was a risky move. Once they were noticed by their opponents who had occupied the heights, they would be finished off in the blink of an eye. Everyone was shocked by the daring move of Blackhawk. Normally speaking, when the Alliance Central Military Academy occupied a height nearby, they would notice the Blackhawk players and end the game once the Blackhawk players were in their sight. What kind of tactics is this? This is so risky. They are bound to be found. Of course, Blackhawk have made such a bad move. I thought this game would be excellent to watch. Now it seems it will end very soon. Even an average motor school would not overlook such an intrusion, not to mention the Alliance Central Military Academy. What trick is this? Those who had the slightest understanding of an archery game thought Blackhawk was committing a suicide. At this point, Sidu Xiang was wringing her hands nervously, her eyes fixed on her team. She had designed the tactics, which looked like a suicide. No team would make such a mistake to neglect this daring move. However, this was her last resort after watching all the games of the Alliance Central Military Academy in recent years. If she used this tactics on another team, then the failure was almost certain. However, on the Alliance Central Military Academy, maybe they stood a 1% or lower chance of success. Sweat in her palms, Sidu Xiang was praying that there would be a miracle. Han Sen was leading the way, watching the timer in his hand from time to time. Their route and timing were carefully designed by Sidu Xiang, in a way that it would allow them to circle behind the Alliance Central Military Academy under the circumstances that the team chose to go directly to the center. Maybe Sidu Xiang's prayers were working. The 5 players of the Alliance Central Military Academy indeed went to the center instead of occupying the heights nearby. A classic battle was often produced under the influence of many coincidences. When the audience saw the players from each team went past each other from different routes, they were shocked. As the Alliance Central Military Academy was marching toward the center, the Blackhawk players had arrived at the woods behind the central mountain. The backs of all 5 players in the Alliance Central Military Academy were exposed in the sight of the Blackhawk players. All of a sudden, arrows were shot from their rear. Although there were 5 players on their team, the target of the arrows was one person, Qin Cheng, the number 2 in the Alliance Central Military Academy, and the second star of the team. Maybe Qin Cheng was not as famous as Jing Jiu, but his contribution to the team was no less than Jing Jiu's. As a student Warframe commander, Qin Cheng had not only great archery skills, but also excellent leadership talent. With Qin Cheng on the team, Jing Jiu could focus himself on getting rid of the opponents. Without Qin Cheng, the Alliance Central Military Academy would still be strong, but no longer invincible. From the very beginning, Sidu Zhang's plan was to first get rid of Qin Cheng, who was the brains of the team, instead of Jing Jiu. On one hand, Jing Jiu's physique was so strong that a sneak attack like this might not work. On the other hand, getting rid of Qin Cheng meant more to Blackhawk strategically. Watch out! Jing Jiu noticed the attack before the arrows even arrived. It was too late for him to fend off the arrows, so all he could do was to use his voice. Qin Cheng acted quickly. It was an archery game, so it was forbidden to use anything to touch the opponent's arrows. A player could either dodge or use his or her own arrow to fight back. The arrows blocked every direction Qin Cheng could move. Their intention to kick Qin Cheng out was clear. Qin Cheng grabbed his bow and shot 3 arrows in an instant, which shot down all the 3 arrows coming at his face. Qin Cheng, well done. The coach of the Alliance Central Military Academy waved his fist in the excitement, feeling lucky to have Qin Cheng on his team. Such skills and calm were next to nobody other than Jing Jiu. As they were celebrating, Qin Cheng suddenly exclaimed as an arrow ended on his chest. Beep, beep, Alliance Central Military Academy. Qin Cheng, out, Archer, Blackhawk, Han Sen. The Blackhawk players were hiding in the woods, while their opponents were exposed on the slope with no cover. The players from the Alliance Central Military Academy were faced with 2 choices, either going up or down. Without hesitation, Jing Jiu ordered everyone to go down, which was faster than going up and did not require them to expose their backs. It was not that easy to come down either. Blackhawk had made a thorough preparation for this part. None of them chose a strong bow. Everyone picked 11.0 bows for the speed. It was a very weak bow for these student archers, but they could shoot continuously. At the command of their captain Zhu Tianhao, a storm of arrows landed on one of the Alliance Central Military Academy players. Without any cover, that player was out immediately. It was me. Shi Jiqing waved his recurve bow in excitement. Watch out! Han Sen wanted to pull Shi Jiqing, but it was too late. An arrow hit Shi Jiqing immediately. Although the arrows all had flat rubber heads, Shi Jiqing still rolled over on the ground in pain. That bow must be a 16.0. Jing Jiu is indeed a monster, said Zhu Tianhao after hiding behind a tree. Han Sen could also pull a 16.0 longbow, but could probably shoot no more than 2 arrows. There was no way he could make continuous shots like Jing Jiu. The 16.0 bow looked like an 11.0 in Jing Jiu's hands. Quick, do not allow them to come down, exclaimed Lu Meng at everyone. In another exchange of arrows, Jing Jiu made a shot at Zhu Tianhao, who was out immediately. Luckily, Han Sen got rid of another opponent as well. The audience became thrilled. Since Jing Jiu joined the school team, it was the first time that 3 players were out in the Alliance Central Military Academy. The Alliance Central Military Academy was never pushed this far before. Blackhawk is only 1 step from victory, but that 1 step is so difficult, because in front of them is the best player in the Military Academy League. Jing Jiu, said Wen Zixiu, thrilled. The viewers also became excited. At an absolute advantage, Blackhawk still lost 3 players to Jing Jiu, who was indeed a monster. However, at this point, Jing Jiu was the only one that had survived on his team. On Blackhawk's side, the remaining were only Han Sen and Lu Meng. They had every intention to eliminate Jing Jiu, but all their attacks were in vain. He's no human, cursed Lu Meng behind a tree. Indeed, said Han Sen, also hiding behind a tree. Jing Jiu had rushed down the mountain and entered the woods. It was almost impossible to see him at this point, and both teams were reduced to the starting point. The viewers held their breath. Before the game, none of them had thought that the Alliance Central Military Academy would be pushed this far. Without a doubt, the tactics adopted by Blackhawk were extremely successful. However, Jing Jiu was still there, and it was almost impossible to beat him. As they wished, they would see the duel between Jing Jiu and Han Sen, because the 2 players were both there. Although Han Sen had some advantage with a teammate on his side. Haha, the coach of Blackhawk is really good. Lin Feng, you think Han Sen could win? Tang Zhenliu smiled and said, Han Sen's bow is too weak. His 11.0 bow is not enough to shoot someone like Jing Jiu, unless they were really close to each other, said Lin Feng. That's right, because of the tactics they used, they all chose 11.0 bows. Although that was successful in the beginning, facing a player like Jing Jiu, the weapon is their biggest weakness. Tang Zhenliu knowingly nodded. Jing Jiu, who was moving freely, turned into a real monster, gliding quietly on the field. Neither Han Sen nor Lu Meng dared to move. Without knowing where Jing Jiu was, they were faced with great challenge, although they were two. "We cannot stay here," said Lu Meng, ready to get up. An arrow suddenly came to him. "Move," roared Han Sen, quickly shooting an arrow at the one threatening Lu Meng. Bang! Han Sen's arrow bounced off immediately, and Jing Jiu's arrow only slightly turned, ending up on Lu Meng's shoulder. Jing Jiu's arrow was meant to hit Lu's heart, but in an archery tournament, getting hit in the shoulder also eliminated Lu. "All yours, Sen," Lu Meng left calmly, as he had done all he could. The audience were again amazed by how powerful Jing Jiu was. "As long as Jing Jiu is here, we will never lose." Blackhawk could try as much as they want. Students of the Alliance Central Military Academy felt a sense of pride. Jing Jiu is indeed the monster. They had such an advantage. They should have got rid of Jing Jiu first instead of Qin Cheng. Bullcrap. How can 11.0 bow be enough to get rid of Jing Jiu at that kind of distance? Indeed, Jing Jiu could have completely dodged an arrow like that with his speed. Such a shame. Blackhawk is indeed a great team with a creative coach. However, they ran into Jing Jiu. Han Sen moved continuously, searching for his opponent everywhere. In the field mimicking a labyrinthine, Jing Jiu was not the only hunter. Han Sen was also looking for Jing Jiu. The two students quickly moved in the field. Although they had not made a single shot, their movements surprised a lot of viewers with rich combat experience. Without the help of any equipment, both Han Sen and Jing Jiu could always avoid the danger one step early and find a favorable spot. If it were just only one time, that would not be so impressive. However, after half an hour that you were still not able to make a shot, because either Han Sen or Jing Jiu could not find a good opportunity. It was like playing chess under blindfold conditions. Without seeing each other, the two masters competed psychologically, using the entire field as their chessboard without a sound. People who really understood the game could hardly breathe when they watched this. The tension and excitement were even more intense than a real combat. No matter Han Sen or Jing Jiu could have fallen into the range of their opponents a million times, but they could always turn away from a crisis. Jing Jiu had raised his bow 6 times and had to put it back down, and Han Sen was the same. So impressive. Both of them. Hu Mingni's eyes lit up and murmured, "This might be the greatest duel in the history of Military Academy League. No matter who loses, he is no loser," Wen Zixu said. The viewers on the Skynet agreed with her. "Absolutely great. I'm afraid we could not see the same thing in the future either. It's a shame that they encountered each other so early. This should happen in the final. I wish to see Jing Jiu and Han Sen fighting each other again. But this year is Jing Jiu's senior year. Han Sen could participate again, but Jing Jiu will not. Such strong players. I don't want either of them to lose. One has to beat the other. It should be Jing Jiu. Han Sen's bow is too weak. If he uses a 14.0 plus bow, he would have a chance to beat Jing Jiu. However, for tactics, he chose 11.0. Han Sen was born 3 years too late. If he's a senior student and has the same strength Jing Jiu does, the duel would be even better to watch. Next year we will be here again." Seeing Han Sen was forced into the area of fallen trees and had to face Jing Jiu, Zhu Tianhao felt a strong regret. He had lost for 3 years and was never able to make it beyond the second round. This year, he was here again, and he really wanted to win. But their opponent was the Alliance Central Military Academy. Even they had worked so hard, they were still about to lose. As Zhu Tianhao was saying next year, he suddenly realized that he no longer had another year. This was his senior year and last year in the tournament. With mixed feelings, Zhu Tianhao's eyes went wet. "Even I have to give 10 years of my life. Please give us a miracle." Zhu Tianhao felt suffocated. Sidu Xiang's eyes were also damp. She did not realize that Blackhawk could come this far. Her plan worked, and now it was king to king. The only thing was that Han Sen was holding an 11.0 bow. Tang Zhenliu knew that Han Sen was exceptional. However, under such circumstances, he did not see any chance for Han Sen to win. After entering the area of fallen trees, Han Sen did not try to run anymore. He had entered the range of Jing Jiu's bow, and there was no cover anyway. Running was pointless. Jing Jiu walked slowly into the area of fallen trees with bow and arrows in his hand, and did not immediately shoot at Han Sen. Instead, he stared at his opponent and said, "You did well. Unfortunately, we will have no chance to fight again. It has to be today. Why next time? Now or never." Han Sen stood still and raised his bow. Jing Jiu did not speak, but nodded, raising his bow as well. 2 persons, 2 bows, 2 arrows. Under the light, they stood like 2 sculptures. After 0.1 second, the two suddenly moved at the same time. The arrows were in the air and the 2 bodies were moving. Jing Jiu's arrow was obviously way faster than Han Sen's. The moment he let go, the arrow was already in Han Sen's face. Han Sen turned sideways slightly and dodged that arrow by a hair. Jing Jiu was more at ease. At such a distance, Han Sen's arrow was too slow to pose any threat to him. However, Jing Jiu still approached Han Sen quickly and shot at him again. Wiggling left and right, Han Sen was shooting back as well. The viewers were dumbstruck. In a duel like this, the two had failed to shoot their opponent multiple times. Shockingly, Han Sen's strange movements led Jing Jiu to miss 3 times. My god. 16.0 bow at 60 feet, yet Jing Jiu missed all 3. Is Jing Jiu's luck too bad, or is the guy's luck is too good? A team member of the Alliance Central Military Academy said, "It's not about their luck. It is because Han Sen is too misleading. When he moved, he was constantly giving Jing Jiu the wrong idea, making Jing Jiu believe he was going into the other direction, which led to mistakes in Jing Jiu's judgment," explained Qin Cheng. "He seemed to be just wiggling unintentionally. It turns out that's a serious skill." The team members all looked to Han Sen in surprise. "You think you could dodge Jing Jiu's arrow unintentionally? Even at 900 feet, I'll bet you could not," replied Qin Cheng quietly. "This Han Sen is really somebody. Can Jing Jiu still win?" exclaimed the team member. "Although Han Sen is better than we thought he would be, his bow is too weak." "That's right. From 300 feet to 150 feet, Jing Jiu will have the absolute advantage." As Han Sen was only 300 feet from Jing Jiu, Sidu Zhang was praying secretly, "Go over." He had to go over. Go over. Jai Yanran rubbed her hands together. Go over. Everyone who helped Han Sen to win was shouting inwardly, although they all knew that the chance was quite slim. When the opponent was Jing Jiu, who was carrying a 16.0 bow, even an evolver would probably not be able to make the perfect dodge. Han Sen moved forward, shortening their distance to less than 300 feet. Everyone's hearts were in their throats. Jing Jiu started to shoot as he entered his perfect range. Even with Han Sen's speed, it would be hard to fend off the volley of arrows from Jing Jiu. However, when Jing Jiu made the first shot, Han Sen had shot a volley of 3 arrows in an instant. As Jing Jiu's arrow brushed off Han Sen's shoulder, Han Sen quickly shot another 3 arrows. "No way!" Qin Cheng and his coach exclaimed at the same time. Even Qiu Mingmei, Sidu Zhang, Wen Zixu, Tang Zhenliu and Lin Feng were shocked. No one could have thought that Han Sen would launch a full-on attack at such a distance, which was beyond what an 11.0 bow could do. If Han Sen's opponent were any other military school student, Han Sen might have some chance. However, opposite him stood Jing Jiu, and it was highly unlikely for Han Sen to hit the target, no matter how many arrows he shot. Han Sen rushed. He should have gotten closer. At such a distance, it is easy for Jing Jiu to dodge his arrows. Wen Zixi was nervous. No matter how she saw this, Han Sen could not pose any real threats to Jing Jiu at such a distance. Launching the attack too early would do Han Sen no good. Terrible. Han Sen should have taken his time. Tang Zhenliu couldn't help but say. He did not have time. This is his last opportunity. With Jing Jiu's ability, he could not get closer than 150 feet, and even if he could, he might still miss, replied Lin Feng. Although that's right, it is equally useless to launch an attack now. I believe he has only 20-something arrows left in his quiver, and when he uses them all, he will have no more supplies and then lose, said Tang Zhenliu. So, he has to win right here, said Lin Feng. How? No idea. Lin Feng shook his head. Even you could not think of an idea. I think Han Sen cannot make it after all. Tang Zhenliu sighed. Under everyone's watch, Han Sen was getting closer and closer to Jing Jiu. An 11.0 bow had its benefits as well, which allowed Han Sen to shoot volleys of arrows easily. A rain of arrows flew toward Jing Jiu. Although they all missed him, they forced Jing Jiu to move around. Han Sen grabbed the opportunity, shooting and running towards Jing Jiu. However, anyone could tell that at the speed, he would have used up his arrows before he made it to 150 feet. Jing Jiu was so strong that even when he was dodging all the arrows, he was still able to make the shots using unlikely positions. Han Sen was about 220 feet from Jing Jiu and had to use Sparticle to the extreme to dodge Jing Jiu's arrows. An arrow flew by Han Sen's face. The flow of air even broke Han Sen's strands of hair. The arrow was so powerful that even it was made with a rubber head, it would still cause serious damage once it ended up on one's face. Han Sen still did not give up. As he moved away from Jing Jiu's arrow, he steadied himself with only one foot on the ground. With his body extremely inclined, Han Sen still managed to make a shot at Jing Jiu. After this shot, Han Sen completely lost his balance and fell to the ground. Han Sen's movements were provoking in Jing Jiu's eyes. When Han Sen lost his balance, without trying to defend himself, he continued to attack. Jing Jiu was not afraid of such a challenge. He made 2 shots at the same time. One went to hit Han Sen's arrow, whereas the other one flew to Han Sen's face, who seemed to have lost his ability to dodge. It seemed that Han Sen had given up on avoiding Jing Jiu's attack altogether. Before he fell, he shot twice at Jing Jiu. The stands were filled with excitement. No one thought the duel would end so fast. At this point, it seemed that Han Sen had already lost. That will be all for now. I hope you find this story interesting. Leave a like, subscribe, and enable notifications so you won't miss the next part of this story. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.